Oh, there's a spill there. That was a little aggressive. Don't normally drink this
too much Fortnite this morning.
New season, baby. All right, so that's the bottle kill. And hopefully it's a longer episode because I got this much in the glass.
Jesus. It's all right. It's only 11 o'clock. You got play.
To be
fair,
all day. This is not the most I've ever drank before 11 o'clock in my life. So.
Yeah, that's accurate. I'm
do
sure.
Have a little puddle here. That was a bad idea.
A podcast about bourbon and the ones who drink it. This is Bourbon Matters. Welcome to Bourbon Matters. I'm Jake.
And I'm Dan.
And Gold Eagle Jake is not here. He's in Kentucky doing Kentucky things.
And I do want to shout out, I was just playing Fortnite with my buddy Kyle before we started.
Oh, hey,
he's
Kyle.
like, just make sure to point out that viewership's going to be higher because Gold Eagle Jake's not on this podcast. So, Kyle, there's your shout out. I'm going to keep drinking. Thank you.
So we had a little bit of a scheduling snafu this week.
It wasn't a scheduling snafu or just Jake being an idiot, not taking what he was supposed to take. No, he had a very busy schedule, wasn't able to get everything, and
yeah. So March Dramness is going to officially start next week, but this week, me and Dan wanted to take the time to recap last year and then talk about what this year's March Dramness is going to be, some of the rules and the new schedule, so everybody knows when to tune in and whatnot. So I guess we can start with
what is
the
March
recap
Dramness?
Of the original.
Well, first off, what is March Dramness? If you're new to the podcast, what is March Dramness? Because we didn't do it last year.
No, we did not do it
last year. Was difficult because we were in transition with me moving. Yeah. Roberto moving and not being able to do the podcast, and Gold Eagle Jake kind of starting to step in and find his spot in the podcast. So
yeah,
I think there's a lot of things going on last year, so we did not do it last year.
Right.
But it is back for this season, baby. It's all that matters.
Yeah. So, for those that don't know, you can go back. I want to say it's got to be like around episode 20 or something.
20 or 30, somewhere in there.
Yeah. So we did a blind. It was semi-blind because we knew everything that was in it, but we just didn't know. Well, no,
we knew what
drinking.
We submitted. We only knew what we submitted.
Oh, okay. So we did do it fairly.
Yeah,
blind.
We had no idea what anyone submitted at all.
Okay,
I believe.
Yeah, now that you say that, I think you're right.
I'm pretty sure it was just we knew our submissions and we had no idea what else was in there.
Yeah, so we did a blind bracketed tasting in the style of the college basketball tournament that you're not allowed to talk about.
You're allowed to talk about it, you just can't say the name of it.
Yeah. So Dan, Roberto, and myself all submitted 2 bottles into the bracket, and then my wife and Roberto's wife submitted 2 wild cards to round out to 8 bourbon submissions. I went big and submitted Elijah Craig 18 and Elmer T. Lee. Dan, you put in St. Cloud and Bardstown Discovery, right?
Discovery 7, I believe that might 6 or 7, somewhere in there.
Then Roberto put in Weller Special Reserve and Blanton's, leaning into Buffalo Trace pretty hard there. And then my wife submitted Yellowstone, and Roberto's wife submitted Elijah Craig Small Batch. So decent representation of Heaven Hill and Buffalo Trace in that bracket. And then Dan with the 2 oddballs.
Wild card.
But I mean, it was a lot of fun.
So how did you pick what you're going to put in, by the way? Like, looking back at it, how did you pick what you put in?
I picked the 2 hardest things that I found that year, in terms of scarcity, and figured that was going to be how I won.
We were all right. So I just pulled up our old tasting notes from it too, and it says episode 12 through 14, March Dramness. So this was very early, very very early in podcasting. This was also we were drinking a lot of whiskey, but I think we were still finding our whiskey selves back then.
Yeah, for sure.
I know we've changed a lot. Our palates have evolved. We found, when you taste a lot of whiskey, you constantly find different things. So we've changed a lot since then. But I think when we go through last year's bracket, we'll still realize some things that reign true with what Gold Eagle Jake says about some of his blind tastings. But you were putting in rare tater stuff. It's basically what you're putting in. Go banking on a win. Roberto also put in rare tater stuff, trying to win.
Yep.
Lindsay and Jenna Ray picked off-the-shelf, easy findable favorites. And I put in St. Cloud because I didn't like it and I wanted to get rid of the bottle. And I put in Bardstown because I liked that blend. It had some 17-year-old whiskey in it. And I liked it a lot. And I thought that might be something. I figured you guys were going to go with like stupid shit. So that was going to be my anti-stupid shit thing. None of mine got past the first round, to be fair.
Yeah.
But that's kind of how we decided. And what we did, we're expanding it this year. So the first year we did 8 bottles. This year we're doing 16. And we'll talk about that. But all we knew was the 2 bottles we submitted. But then they were blind, so we had no idea where in the bracket they were. So we all had a 25% chance of knowing what one of the bottles was, but it was blinded. And again, we were really early in our whiskey tasting career, so not knowing some of the normal flavor notes out of some of the things, we didn't do too well. And I
no.
Like, it's funny because I kept notes back then. I used to be way more involved and do more things for the podcast. So I took notes. So I was kind of want to go through some of the things because also each time it changed. Every time we tasted it changed. So the first time we tasted the overall consensus was it didn't smell high proof, which, hey, we hit that right. You and me both said it had a strong oak flavor to it.
Which makes sense.
Which is what makes sense with 18 year. We got some orange peel and smell on the flavor, and we said around a 95 proof. And you and me both voted A, which was Elijah 18.
Yep.
Roberto went with B, which was, he said, a light nose, straw color, not as in-depth, very mild tasting notes to it, smooth and sweet, easy drinking, and that was Yellowstone.
Yeah.
So in the first matchup that we did, Elijah Craig took down Yellowstone.
Yeah, very comparable in proof. I think Yellowstone is 90 or 94, something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, those two I think are actually a pretty decent matchup despite the age difference. Yeah, I think we actually nailed that round. You and I giving Elijah the heavier kind of oak notes and stuff like that, and then Roberto saying that the Yellowstone was much more drinkable and light and so on. So yeah, we didn't do as well from there on.
By the way, I think before we get any farther in this, let's say now what Roberto's first statement was when we started talking about this was he said that he would be able to pick Weller out of a blind line.
Oh yeah. And he bet you, didn't he?
He bet me something, yeah. So, anywho, just remember that Roberto said he could pick this out of a blind lineup. And then the next round was C versus D.
Oh yeah, C and D.
We said that C had a strong ethanol smell to it, had some green apple, thought it was higher proof, cinnamon spice at the end, lingering finish, and apple pie-like. None of us voted for C. We all voted for D, which we said smells like Sour Patch Kids, which I think we all thought, because we knew it was in there. We knew, because Roberto said he could pick out Weller and Elijah 18 out of a blind.
Oh, yeah.
So we all knew all the whiskeys in it. We didn't know what they were. This year we only know our 4, which we'll get to in a minute.
Yep.
Because we kept saying Sour Patch Kids are sour because everything was a sour mash for Roberto, because we knew that Elmer T. Lee was in there.
Yeah. Which doesn't actually translate.
No. Again, early podcasts, we want to hear idiots. We're still idiots rambling about whiskey. But if you want to hear bigger idiots ramble about whiskey, go back to early episodes. All 3 of us voted for D. We said it was Sour Patch Kids, extremely smooth, mellow flavor, nutty finish at the end, and a quick, smooth finish. So C was my St. Cloud that I did not like. None of us voted for it. D was Blanton's. So on the left side, we had Elijah 18 and Blanton's move on. When we go to the right side, we had the first one, which we had A, B, C, D, W, X, Y, and Z, just to keep the alphabet split apart. Too tough to do that with 16. So we said that W had a vanilla smell, sweet with hints of cinnamon, very smooth, sticks with you for a few seconds, then completely gone. Possibly some more pear or orange. And all 3 of us voted for that one, which ended up being Elmer T. Lee. And then X.
Well, do you have my note about the Elijah Craig?
Yes. Earthy smell and taste. So most of you listening now have listened to us long enough to know that Jake likes to slobber all over Heaven Hills Knob. And we said earthy smell and taste, molasses. I have a note that says Scottish flavor question mark, so I have no idea what the fuck we were talking about there. Smooth and high malt. And that was Elijah Craig. We all thought that one for sure was St. Cloud.
Yeah.
And that was probably our most hated one of round 1.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I said it tasted like dirt.
Yeah. We said earthy. I think I tried to round it out by saying earthy smell and taste. We all hated that one. Just straight Elijah Craig small batch. And then the final competition versus round 1 was Y versus Z. We said Y had a lot of vanilla and oak up front. We thought it had like a blueberry muffin flavor to it, which a little off, but I can see kind of where we're going with that. Very smooth with not much of a finish and not a lot of spice on it. Very easy drinkable whiskey.
Yeah.
I think this would have been Roberto's Netflix whiskey, technically.
Yep.
All 3 of us voted for that one, and that was Weller Special Reserve.
Mm-hmm.
And Z, we said it smells like bourbon. It got a little bit stronger as you kept drinking it. We said it was very complex and probably over 100 proof.
Yeah, which this was by far the highest proof.
Yeah.
With St. Cloud, I think might have been 100.
Yeah, I think St. Cloud was overly high, but
yeah.
And this was the Bardstown Discovery that I had put in, which that was my one I was hoping to sneak in. Had a tough round 1 matchup. Well, I guess technically probably the only round 1. If you're looking at whiskeys, there was Elijah 18, Blanton's, Elmer, and Weller all in the first round. Unless it went against Elijah, Yellowstone, or Blanton's, I don't think it had a chance of winning. So after round 1, we had Elijah 18 versus Blanton's and Elmer T. Lee versus Weller. In the second round.
And at this point, we still didn't know what was
We still had no idea what was in.
Yeah,
we didn't reveal all the bottles until after we were done.
Yep.
Sorry, looking at some of our tasting notes makes me laugh. So, round 2 was Elijah 18 versus Blanton's. And our notes for Elijah 18 was it was way darker than Blanton's. Hit that.
Makes sense.
Caramel, oak, and vanilla, which again, we called a lot of oak on it the first round.
Yep.
complex oak finish, a lot of charred oak in it, and a little bitter / sour, which is weird because they're not really similar.
Yeah.
Again, very big rambling. I mean, we're still rambling idiots, but bigger idiots.
Yeah.
And all three of us voted for A, which was Elijah 18. When we went and tasted the Blantons that lost, the first note on here says beef taco smell.
That's Roberto 100%.
100% Roberto on that one. Like, if you really want to call us out, whatever, Andrew Fam, go back and listen to that episode. If it was me or Jake, feel free to call us idiots. If it wasn't Roberto, like, that's fine. I get it. Feel free to blast me as much as you want at that point.
Beef tacos. Oh my God.
And then we said apple cinnamon, apple pie flavor. Lots of vanilla, which does hit the Blanton's note.
Yeah.
We said it was very compressed for flavor. None of us voted for Blanton's. So Elijah moved on to the final. On the other half of the bracket, we had Elmer T. Lee versus Weller, Special Reserve.
Mm-hmm.
And we said that the Elmer had a lot of vanilla and orange peel smell. Apple middle / pink lady. So that pink lady is definitely a Roberto thing. And I don't know if he's talking about a pink lady sushi or what he's talking about.
Isn't that an apple?
Oh, yeah. Pink lady apple.
Yeah.
Yep. That's what he's going for.
Yeah.
None of us picked Elmer. We all went instead for Weller, which we said had a perfumey smell, not much oak or vanilla.
Yeah.
Floral, extremely smooth, and a juniper note to it. Which was Weller Special Reserve. Again, we did not know this, so the final was Elijah 18 versus Weller Special Reserve. I don't have notes from there because we did that all at once. But to be fair, when we started, Roberto said that the two he would know for sure blind were Elijah and Weller Special Reserve. He didn't think
not guess
either of
one.
those. He bet me something that he knew exactly what was in the final. I can't remember which ones he said. But neither of them were Elijah and Weller. Jake, I think you picked them both.
Yeah, I did.
And I think I said one was Weller, but I missed the Elijah. I thought the Elijah was actually my Bardstown.
Yeah, that's right.
Which, in all fairness, those were the two oldest ones.
Yeah. It was pretty clear that A was a much older whiskey, just because of the heavy oak notes. But I mean, I think it is funny reading those back, because one, I think this bracket, if we redid it like one for one, would go a very different way now.
I don't have the Bardstown, but that'd be fun to go back and do. We should dog ear that and come back to it.
Yeah,
I don't have, and maybe Jake might have an access to that Bardstown. And the St. Clouds I know are different batches too, so it'd be tough with that.
Yeah, that's true.
But I know I have Elijah 18, I have Elmer, I have Blanton's, I have Weller, Yellowstone, and Elijah are easy to get. The two that I put in would be the tough ones to find.
Yeah, which is hilarious, but
I went rogue for a reason, just to see for fun. Like, you guys were so concerned about winning, and I was I want to get rid of this bottle, and I think this one's pretty good, so I'll throw this one in here.
Yeah. My thoughts on this, if we did this again today, I think the Bardstown would probably make it to the finals. And
it went up against Weller Special Reserve, which is going to be a tough ask. Because we talked a lot through them. I remember when we did the episode, because some of them were very complex and some of them were simple. And was it a really good simple, or was it a really good complex?
Right. I think today, though, we'd probably lean more towards complexity than simplicity and higher proof.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, the Bardstown, like we said, is easily the highest proof out of this entire bracket, which most of these things are between like 90 and 95 proof.
If that.
Yeah.
I bet 85 to 95 is where the majority of these fell.
Yeah. So, it's... I think the Bardstown now would really stick out. one, it probably wouldn't be fair because we'd easily be able to identify that now.
Yeah.
So we'd know what it was, I think, right off the bat, just from the proof point. But yeah, I mean, I think I don't know. I'd like to see how we would do some of these matchups today.
What we should do instead of this is we should do a blind tater off sometime.
Yeah. Yeah, all tater bracket.
All tater bracket, just a random thing. Okay. Anyway, so that was the first one. Again, I think we all knew what was in it, but it was completely blind.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward to season 2 of March Dramness. You submitted 4, I submitted 4, Jake submitted 4, and Roberto, we sent a picture of your massive collection to Roberto, and he picked 4 and let Jenna Ray know. So
yep,
we know 4 of the 16, but again, it's completely blind. And if you're looking at YouTube, they're all right here. This is where they're all at. There's been some pictures on Instagram too. There's a lot of different colors. Season 1, we did all bourbon. Season 2, we are doing American whiskey.
Yep.
So, right, Jake, go through the rules for season 2.
Yeah. So this season, we are doing all American whiskey. So it has to be, origin in America. So
thanks
that
for explaining
means,
what American means.
Well, I'm just trying to be clear. Like, this means no Scotch, no Irish whiskey, no Japanese, no foreign whiskey. It's got to be American. It can be American single malt or rye or bourbon or just American whiskey. It could be pure corn whiskey. It could be whatever. As long as it's American.
You don't have mellow corn, do you? Because I know if you have mellow corn, Roberto definitely picked it. Okay. Right.
Yeah. Which I think Roberto wanted to put mellow corn in the first March Dramness, but we said it was bourbon only, so he couldn't. Yeah. But it would also be a dead giveaway because it would be the only thing that's neon yellow out of the entire group. But so yeah, second rule, which really there's only like 2 rules this year.
Second rule, you don't talk about
March Dramness. No, actually, it's no store picks. So we wanted to pick, we wanted to submit things that are more accessible and a little more generalized than specific store picks. So I believe also it's no single barrels. So no single barrels. Wait, how do you
say also? You believe also when you're the one that set the rules?
Because it was like 2 weeks ago. I'm trying to remember. No, it's no single barrels or store picks. So I think the goal is just to try and put forward some interesting submissions. I know.
Are you going the tater route trying to win this year?
No, I am not.
Okay. How did you pick the things you wanted to submit?
So I wanted to pick things that would be what I'd consider kind of sleepers.
Okay.
So 3 of mine are that like sleeper whiskeys. And then one of them is a unicorn, but only because it was it was a limited release. But the general brand is like available most of the time. You don't need to
get too deep into it.
Yeah. So yeah, I went pretty pedestrian this time. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how my choices stack up.
I had to look at my text message to your wife to see what I sent.
So another round of throwaway bottles for Dan.
No, none of them are throwaway. I will be fair and say that they are bottles that I wouldn't mind if we lost some alcohol out of them. Uh-huh. All 4. So none of them. 2 of them are pretty hard to find. 2 of them are not very hard to find. None of them are normal off the shelf things. I will say that. two of them. Only one of them is really easy to find, actually. The other three are a little more difficult to find. They might have a little bit higher price tag, but they're findable. I liked all of these. It's not like the St. Cloud where I just threw a bottle that I didn't like in because I want to get rid of some. All of these I did like. They weren't my favorites, and I'm trying to. If you've listened, like my whole goal is I bought a bunch for a while, and I've been trying to thin back the herd and doing a lot of culling. And some of these, I'm like, I like them, but I like other things better, so let's cull some of these out of here.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of how I went with mine. But again, some of them are sought-after bottles that I bought without tasting and wasn't a big fan, or not that I wasn't a big fan of, but it's just like I have other stuff that I'd rather be drinking.
Right.
And some of the other stuff is easier to find, and I'd rather drink that stuff instead of some of these. So
yeah, I think that's what's going to be the most interesting thing about this year is we've now had 2 years to develop our palates and our preferences. I think we're a lot more educated than we were previously in the first March Dramness. I think we really understand what we like and dislike now. So it'll be, I think, a lot very fun and very challenging, I think, to sort through all these different things and try and stay true to what we really like. At least for me, I know that's going to be my goal.
So that's where my biggest concern of this lies. And it'll be interesting to how voting goes because this is American whiskey, so it can be bourbon, rye, single malt, American single malt. We know that more technically, I'm really enjoying this bottle kill, this ice cider. Also a little buzz at 11 a.m. because it's 107 proof. And I've had probably about a full Glencairn at this point. Again, just playing Fortnite earlier. New season. Gotta
like
get in there.
You have to drink to play Fortnite is the way you're tagging that on there.
You're not wrong. I was playing with my buddy Kyle, and I don't think he was drinking. But he is getting bigger. He is getting bigger and bigger into whiskey. It's like normally I don't feel bad drinking by myself when I'm at my house playing games because my other friends are drinking. Kyle wasn't. His wife was putting dishes away, and it was distracting me from the game. But, sorry, this is me. This is Drunk Dan coming out at 11:56 a.m. Oof. My concern is going to be when we come across a rye versus a rye versus bourbon. Jenna Ray just completely randomly drew. There is no rhyme or reason. There is no bracketing. There is no seeding. So chances are there could be a rye versus a bourbon because I'm guessing you guys put in ryes. The thing that's going to be played out is you favor rye, I favor bourbon. Mm-hmm. So when we get to those, one, it'll be interesting to see if you're able to decipher the difference. I've gotten a lot better with that with Ted Taste as much blind as I have at work.
I sometimes
it's still hard though.
Yeah, depending on the rye content, I have trouble distinguishing between like a Kentucky rye and a bourbon a lot of times. If it's
high
like
rye bourbon versus a low rye.
Right. Yeah. Like if it's an MGP rye versus like a regular bourbon, I should be able to pick that out pretty easily. That contrast is pretty stark.
Clip that, please. For a little short.
Yeah. But yeah, I we'll see. I mean, like I've said several times recently, I am not good at blind tastings, at picking things out,
or putting blends together either.
So we'll see. But luckily, all I need to do is just pick my favorite of
you just gotta pick
two whiskeys at a time.
It'll be interesting if it's a rye versus bourbon, because more than likely you'll probably lean rye. More than likely, I'll probably lean bourbon. Unless it's a low rye, like a 51% rye.
Yeah.
Because we always talk about my dislike of rye. Some of my favorite bourbons are in the 30% rye blend.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see where Jake falls on that, because you and Roberto were both bigger fans of rye, and that's why when we did Old October, the rye beat the double wheat. That'll be the most interesting thing to see how that plays out in the new bracket. We have no idea, no clue what Roberto picked.
Yeah.
That's going to be the biggest wild card. I'm guessing, since Jake's not here to defend himself, I'm guessing a lot of his stuff is going to be high proof.
I think he's either going to do very high proof or he's going to go like down to like 80 just to throw us off. But
only one of mine is cast strength. Otherwise, all my other ones are lower proof.
Yeah, I think same. I think one of mine is cast strength and the others are about 100, I want to say.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to mine. So
yeah.
It'll be interesting. So how's the schedule going to play out for this one, Jake?
Yeah, so this week we'll consider the pregame show, which Dan is pregaming, that's for sure. So next week...
you know what? Pre-games are champions, man. Pre-gamers are champions.
Next week will be the something 16.
I think you can still say Sweet 16. I just think you can't say March.
Oh, okay.
Mad cow disease.
Well, we're not monetized anyway, so Sweet 16 is next week. We'll be narrowing down the 16 down to 8.
We're taking 16 whiskeys next week.
Yeah. We were going to split it up between 2 episodes, but we can't now. So there's going to be a lot of spitting, I think. That
Speak for yourself. I'm a swallower, Jake.
God. Oh, all right. Last time Dan starts drinking before the podcast.
Before the podcast at 11 a.m. Yeah. I feel when we do these at 7 o'clock, like if you start drinking before, it's fine. Yeah, a little different on this time.
Then the following week will be the top 8. So that'll be the 17th will be a Sweet 16. The 24th will be the top 8. And then we will be recording live on the 30th around noon, I think is what we said. For the final 4 and then the final 2. We'll name a champion on that live stream.
That should be one episode, right? Because otherwise we're sampling. Yeah, it'll be one episode of the final 4. We pick our champion and then kind of probably do a recap at that point.
Yeah, and we'll do a quick recap. So tune in live on YouTube on the 30th. And then that episode will probably post to Spotify and the other platforms on the 31st, like normal. But yeah, tune in on the 30th to the live stream. It'll be fun. We'll even probably be able to take comments and stuff along the way, which will be fun. That'll be like the first time we do live Q&A and shit like that. So that'll be cool.
Great. So if you're the 1 or 2 people that are actually watching it live, please leave a comment. You'll get a shout out.
Yeah. As long as Kyle's not the only person watching,
he doesn't watch live. He travels a lot for work. So it's usually when he's traveling that he listens to us.
Oh, wasn't he the only person that watched the Kentucky live stream?
I don't know, but he's the only person that's ever donated us money, and it was to fix my internet.
Yeah, that's true.
Which, by the way, Kyle, you gave me $5. It was $10 per month, and we're a year in. So I think you owe me like $115 at this point, or $125. Pay up, bitch. Fair enough. The other problem, let me just say this. I haven't had breakfast yet.
Jesus. Oh, God. And you're recovering from back surgery. So
yeah, I've been off pain.
You've got a lot
for a
going
long
for
time,
you.
But yeah, life's
you got
great
a depression
sometimes.
beard.
No, this was just a post-surgery. I'm not shaving, and then the girl I'm seeing likes it, thinks it's funny because it's red, so it's been staying around now.
And you should go with just the cowboy stash.
I was gonna do chops. I was gonna do here, nothing else, and just go dirty Dirty shit. What was I'm blanking out. David Spade.
Joe Dirt.
Joe Dirt. Go Joe Dirt Chops. That's what I should have went with. That's what I should go with. I should show up. I'm heading over to her place afterwards. Maybe I should just show up with Dirty Chops. All right. March Dramness will be happening next week as long as Gold Eagle Jake does his job.
Yep. So yeah, it's going to be fun. Again,
speaking of Gold Eagle Jake.
Oh, yeah. You look like you have a bone to pick, so.
A little bit. Something really grinds my gears. So since Jake's not here, I will plug Gold Eagle. Go to Gold Eagle's website, go to their app, buy shit, he ships, whatever. You know what he's doing, by the way, as an event you can sign up for at Gold Eagle right now?
Yeah, because I'm going to it.
Barrel Pick Dramness, which sounds very similar to March Dramness. And get this, what he's doing is he's taking 16 of their stores' barrel picks. And week 1, they're going through probably 8 of them on the left side. Week 2, they're going through 8 of them on the right side. Then they're narrowing them down. And he's making money off of Barrel Pick Dramness, which he wouldn't have gotten if he didn't start hopping on our podcast. I feel a royalty play is fair game at this point.
Well, Roberto's going to have to initiate the suit because it was his idea.
No, nothing was ever Roberto's idea. I love Roberto to death. Roberto is fun. He makes me laugh. We were texting last night. I love the guy to death. If you listen to our old episodes, everything was his idea. Nothing was.
No.
Nothing
was. Ever.
But now Gold Eagle Jake just sweeps in and steals our ideas for his profit.
Mm-hmm.
But in all seriousness, since you can't join, if you're listening, you can't join our March Dramness. If you're in the area, is Monday the first night for March Dramness or his blind barrel pick Dramness?
Yes. So this will air on Sunday. So yeah, the following Monday, which it would be great if I could do math in my head. The 11th is the first round of the barrel pick Dramness at Gold Eagle. Tickets are on sale right now.
And you can buy them at Gold Eagle. Hold on, let me pull it. I don't know. I never listen to when he plugs. So the website is goldeaglewine.com. Instagram. Hold on, let me go back. Let me get off our Bourbon Matter stuff that had everything. Search. If we search for Gold Eagle Wine on Instagram as well. So search on Instagram for Gold Eagle Wine. Search on the web for goldeaglewine.com. The website or the app. Is it just the Gold Eagle app? Is it just called Gold Eagle or is it Gold Eagle Wine and Spirits? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Go to goldeaglewine.com. Your phone can pop up the app. Buy tickets. Go to March Dramness or his barrel pick Dramness. I'll plug him since he's not here, even though he stole our idea. If you go, please give him shit for stealing things from us. Because, again, we did all this before he was here. Jake, you just texted him as we're live on the podcast. This is exciting.
No, he texted us.
Oh, he texted us. I saw Jake. But no, so go support him. If you want to do a blind barrel pick Dramness, you'd have to go to all of them to get the full experience. If you can't go to all of them, you don't have to go to all of them to be part of it. You can buy tickets. If you just want to go to the Final Four and see what people put to the Final Four, that's fine. I have my fingers crossed. I have no idea what's in it. I'm hoping our Whiskey Acres barrel pick, our toasted barrel pick, is in it. Because I would love for that to do very, very well because it lost to Weller Full Proof by 1 vote in a blind tasting. But that'll be Jake's plug since he's not here. I will plug it for him.
Yep. And then I'll plug us. Listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or any other podcast platform. And you can watch us on YouTube and Spotify. Tune in again on March 30th at noon for the live stream of the March Dramness finals. We hope to see you there and hope to get some comments. We can answer some questions about why Dan is so stupid, or why is Dan so ugly, or why doesn't Dan know anything about whiskey? So that and more will be answered on the live stream. So
also, if you're on the live stream and you enjoy Dan being drunk at 11:39 a.m.,
yeah,
let me know. This could be a thing that we do more often.
Absolutely.
I'm not opposed. I'm just going to say that I'm not opposed to being drunk before noon for your enjoyment, because I am a sellout.
Yes.
And my price is very low.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see everybody next week with the Sweet 16.
16 whiskeys. Minnick did 100, but he's a little bitch. We're doing 16 and we're doing it the right way. So
yeah. You might have to split that recording, but we'll see.
It might be 2 episodes, yeah, because I think if we do some shorter episodes, it's fine. But I mean, March Madness doesn't end till like mid-April, anyways. So
yeah, it's true. Fine. All right. Thanks, everybody. See you next week,
guys. We'll see you soon.
Cheers. Oh, yours is way better than mine.